Hey guys, if you're thinking about moving somewhere to the Austin area, making Central Texas your home, one of the suburbs you may come across is Georgetown, Texas. And I've done a few videos on Georgetown now, still one of my favorite suburbs in Austin. And it's way up here on the northeast side of town. And this series about all of these towns, this pros and cons series that I'm doing, what I'm doing is I'm sitting down with people locally because I live in Dripping Springs. I don't live in Georgetown. I don't know it as well as I think I do. And so I've got today with me Erin Chambers. Erin is a South Austin girl. She actually went to school with my wife and sister-in-law.
Yes.
And that's kind of how this connection got made. But Erin, you've been living in Georgetown now for how long?
I've been here since 2017.
Okay.
I moved up here. I was getting priced out of Austin.
Right.
And I was looking for an affordable community, but also one that had a small town feel, but still had all the amenities of a big city
Gotcha.
like Austin.
Yeah.
So for me, the arts,
Oh, okay.
the music, the Southwestern University is here. The community theater here at the Palace, great community theater. And I really wanted someplace where my kids could enjoy the arts.
Right. Okay.
That was not in the big city.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So, as a part of this, again, being here as long as you have, you've experienced, you've experienced Georgetown. You said you used to live down in Buda in Plum Creek.
Yep.
And then South Austin. Again, you spent a lot of time in South Austin, went to Bowie High School.
Yep.
So let's jump into the pros and cons here.
Okay.
And we're going to find out again from a local what's going on with Georgetown here. So the first thing, and you've already mentioned it, that I love about Georgetown, and again, I grew up in China, a really small town.
Okay.
So Georgetown, it's still, and especially right here. By the way, guys, this bar in Mesquite Creek Outfitters.
Mesquite Creek Outfitters.
Okay, this place is cool. They got a nice little tap wall, old bar, and it's right on the square.
It is.
Right across from the courthouse. And this place feels like a small town.
It absolutely does. And one of the things that Georgetown prides itself on is we have the prettiest square in Texas.
I don't know if it's the prettiest in Texas. There might be some other towns that argue with you on that. But I will say this, from the square perspective, there are more cool restaurants and bars and clothing shops and other stuff around it. From that perspective, This square is unmatched. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if you could see
the tin ceilings.
The tin ceilings. This is a historic building that has been renovated. We have Preservation Georgetown, which is our historic society. They actually own the church, the white little chapel off the square.
Okay.
And that's the historic society. So if you wanted to learn more about Georgetown history, you could always get on over there. But all of the buildings around the square are historic, and they have been renovated to code, so that bars, restaurants,
Right.
shops can still
Operate
out of them.
Because this building, I'm going to guess this building was built sometime in the 1800s, probably mid 1800s or late 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at the architecture; it's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Texas limestone is what the walls are made out of. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah. It is.
So that's that small town piece of it. But the other pro that I come up with is you've got that small town feel. But Georgetown's a pretty big city. You've got the amenities here. And this breaks my heart. If you have to have a Starbucks, there's a Starbucks here.
There is. It is not on the square.
That is a fact.
No, we actually have 3 different Starbucks in town. There's 2 on Williams Drive, which is a big main thoroughfare in town. And then there's one over in Wolf Ranch, which is a big, your new end shopping amenities, your Target, your Kohl's, your Bath and Body Works. That's all out there.
And that's probably 5 minutes from where we're sitting.
It is 5 minutes from here. But on the square, we actually have Blue Coast Coffee. We have Black Sugar Coffee.
Okay.
And then down on Main Street, there is 309 Coffee.
309 Coffee? Okay.
Yeah. So we do have homegrown coffees.
Right.
In and around the square.
Mom and pop stuff, especially downtown.
Yes.
Is why I'm assuming is kind of where you're going with that. Okay. Very cool.
Georgetown is really big on, shop local, shop small.
Love it. And again, that's to me, that's the number one pro here. And by the way, the only place that I've I've eaten twice on the square. Both of them have been at the little taco shop over here, and I can't remember the name of it. Mikey D's.
Yeah.
Mikey D's got great tacos.
Yeah. Well, they have great tacos, but we have high-end restaurants on the square as well. We've got Wildfire. There's Fuego, which is 2 doors down. Has like a Latin fusion kind of place. We've got Julius, which just opened in the historic Shriners building across the square.
Okay.
We have City Post, which is actually in the old post office.
Oh, cool.
And it's really cool because when you walk in there, they still have all the old post boxes.
Nice.
And then the restaurant is actually behind the post.
Cool.
So that's really cool. But just incorporating the old with the new. Giving us options for high end. There's still Monumento, which is high end.
It's just down here.
Yeah, down the street. And then of course we also have, bars. We got the whiskey bar down the street on the corner. We're sitting here in Whiskey Creek. We also have 3 wineries on the square.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
Next door is Barron's, which is out of Fredericksburg, but they do have a shop. Here.
Barron's Creek. Yeah.
We also have Great Creek Winery.
Okay.
On the opposite corner. And then also Heath Wines and Great Creek are tied together. So it's sparkling wines. And so you can, if you have a membership with either out in Fredericksburg, you can actually pick up your wine here on the square. Oh, cool. And then we have Georgetown Winery on the opposite side.
From where we are now. And look, this is the reason, okay? Like I can research. I can tell you what I don't know any of what she just said, and she just rattled it off the top of her head. So you truly do understand the town. Tell me, okay, what's your favorite restaurant down here?
Oh gosh, so we actually have a new restaurant called La Red.
Okay.
La Red. It is Italian, and I've been there twice already. It just opened like the beginning of February,
okay.
And I've been there twice. It's fantastic. But I also do love City Post.
Okay.
So those are my 2 favorites.
What about your favorite winery?
I'm gonna have to go with Grape Creek.
Grape Creek. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the cool things about Georgetown is, we do have festivals. We have market days once a month here on the square. We have car shows on the square. We have Poppy Festival.
And that all goes back to that small town thing,
That all goes back to the small town thing. We have, our Christmas parade, our square lighting, our, Christmas market days. We just actually 2 weekends ago had the Swirl, which was to promote, shopping local.
Okay.
But all of the stores had like wine booths. So you can get a drink and walk around the square with your drink in hand while you're shopping.
And that just reminded me when you talked about Poppy Festival, because you were talking about the need to have your kids around the arts and things. So there's art festivals throughout the year as well.
There are artisans. They have arts. I don't know if you've seen the square. Have you walked?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So have you noticed on every corner there is artwork?
I have not, but now I'm going to look.
Yeah, because not only do we have murals everywhere, but we have art installations everywhere as well. Okay. Those are actually local artisans.
We're in a bar. Those are empty kegs that are being taken out. Sorry.
There are art installations all over Georgetown. They change them out quarterly. They are for purchase, so if you liked something that you saw, an art installation, you could potentially purchase it.
That's cool. Okay.
Like I said, our market days, local artisans will typically get a booth, and they will sell their whatever they've made. And then Christmas stroll, they do the same thing. They've got art classes at the Art Center, which is on Main Street. And then a lot of times they will display your artwork in the local library.
Okay, that's right.
So wow. It's a very, I don't know what the right word is. It's very supportive of artists.
Okay.
And then of course, the Southwestern University is a liberal arts school. It does also have arts programs.
Okay.
That the town can go and support as well.
Because you mentioned earlier, I know they've got shows and theater and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's roll on to my second pro here. and this is something that again speaks to me in a big way, and that's just the outdoor recreation, the beautiful spaces that you see around town, and I'm sure you'll hit on the major ones. But how do you feel about that as a pro?
Okay, so Georgetown is a hidden gem
Oh
when
my
it comes to parks and
God.
recs.
Yeah.
So we have a huge, and that's one of the things that we vote on as a community, and we've added bond packages to enhance our local parks. One of our biggest ones is San Gabriel Park. It's down on the river, and
San Gabriel River.
San Gabriel River. But it's huge, and it has hiking and biking and the Georgetown
And
Rec
miles
Center.
and miles of trails.
So it's funny that you say that because we actually in Georgetown have 50 parks.
Wait, what?
50 parks throughout Georgetown. We
Okay.
have 19 miles of hike and bike trails.
Holy cow!
And
in the city.
In the city, and
Okay.
they are almost all connected.
Wow.
Like you can, from San Gabriel Park, which is on the east side of I-35, you can actually take a hike and bike trail all the way out to Georgetown.
Under 35?
Yeah, it goes under 35.
Georgetown Lake's on the west side of 35, and
Yeah.
the main
Yeah,
downtown.
you can hike or bike all the way out to
Holy-
Lake Georgetown.
I had no idea. Okay, that's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. Now I have probably only done 5 to 7 miles. I am not I am not a 19 miler
No,
by any
no, no, no,
chance. But like I've gone from St. Gabriel Park, do the 1 mile loop there, and then keep going and under the bridge, and you hit Rivery Park, which is another. It's where the Marriott is. It's where some additional upscale dining is, and then you can keep going from there all the way out to the lake.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And the thing about kind of in this area, Georgetown's in a really interesting spot to me, being on both sides of 35.
Yes.
Because you've been in Austin long enough. You know where the hill country is on the west side of 35 and what caused it and the uplifts and all that other stuff. But Georgetown's unique because it takes in kind of both of the worlds of Central Texas in terms of terrain, right?
Yes.
On this side, it's more of the rolling hills, the farmland, and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, you're starting to get, as you get closer to Liberty Hill and things like that, you're starting to get into that little more rugged hill country out there. So for me, when you're driving through the area, it's just like, even just driving through, it's like, wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually live on the east side.
Okay.
And I am surrounded by family farms.
Okay.
I actually have, there's Rock Ride, which is an equestrian riding center for like therapy.
Oh, cool.
There's also a couple other different horse farms around me. So I get the convenience of living in the city with
being in the
able
country.
to see and talk to cows and horses while I'm driving home. And then
There's nothing wrong with that.
and then my parents actually live in Sun City, which is the 55 plus community out on the far west side of Georgetown, and they live in the rolling hills, but they've got a lot of animals
Right.
and it's a golf cart community, so we can take the golf cart down into the forest and see if we can find a deer and all of the good things. And so that's actually what my son and I did yesterday.
Nice. Well, and you told me something a while ago that it kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize Sun City was as big as it is.
Yes.
And when they call it Sun City, it is its own city. You said it's over 12,000 residents now?
12,000 residents and growing. They're still building out there. My parents moved up there in 2014. And they live in neighborhood 56, and they have not stopped building. Each little the community is its own little neighborhood.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. Each little segment is its own little neighborhood, and it's typically about 4 to 5 streets. But that way they have a sense of community. They can gather with their neighbors. Like this weekend for St. Patrick's Day, my parents' neighborhood is doing a St. Patrick's Day parade.
Oh, very cool. Just their community.
I guess, yes, their little neighborhood where they're going to have stops along the way.
What kind of stuff? Oh, okay.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
It's St. Patrick's Day, so why not have a parade with shots?
Yes.
Green shots. It's got to be green.
I'm sure it will be.
All right. Well, there you go. There's another major pro. I think I'm going to start planning my retirement here.
Yeah.
That's pretty good stuff.
But also in that community, I mean, my parents moved up there to be active.
Right.
They have, I mean, my mom does everything. She's on the drill team. She does singers. She's in the plays. She's, you know, it's like high school without the actual classes.
Right.
So, and payback
And she's
is,
on the dance team,
and
right?
she's on the dance team.
Right.
So my payback is for all the years she watched me do everything, I get to go watch her now, and it's a blast.
Speaking of dance teams, let's move on to my third pro here.
Yes.
And just kind of going from when I moved to Austin, Georgetown ISD has always been a really, really good school district.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
All right.
so well, and,
Maybe not a pro.
and here's the thing: is originally when I was looking at school districts, I was actually looking at Bastrop and looking at Georgetown.
Okay.
And Georgetown does rank higher than say AISD.
Right.
But after getting here and being in the school system, my youngest is in 5th grade now. I hate to do this to public school. I love public school.
Your mom's a teacher.
Well, she worked in the office.
Or in the office, okay.
Yeah, she's, but they're, the school ratings are not where they should be.
Okay.
Like the individual school ratings. However, I will say they are making strides. In the past 5 years that we have been in GISD, they have been making strides. And every year they get a little bit better and better and better.
Okay. So it sounds like good leadership is in place.
Good leadership is in place. My son, his 3rd grade teacher was teacher of the year.
Okay.
For the whole entire school district.
Wow.
For elementary school.
Okay,
so
what elementary school was that?
It's James Mitchell
Elementary
okay. School. And they are continuing to hire great teachers. I will say they care. Okay. That's the overall thing is they absolutely care about my son's education, and he has an individual education plan, and they are, you know, doing everything in their power to make sure that he is successful. However, if you look at, you know, the overall test scores and stuff as a school, they don't look so great.
Okay.
They also have an interesting way of grading.
Okay.
And that is that in elementary school, at least at my son's school, there is no like A, B, C. It's not a scale from, you know, to 100. It is approaching the standard, meeting the standard, or exceeding the standard. So when they say this is what your kid needs to learn for the school year, when the report cards come out every 9 weeks, it's are they approaching that standard? Have they met that standard, or have they exceeded that standard?
So it sounds like TEKS based.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really hard to, as a parent that is not in education, it's kind of hard to determine where my son needs an additional help.
Yeah, that seems a little bit vague.
It is very vague. Luckily, they are very communicative.
Okay.
There was a point last year where my son wasn't really reading the best.
Okay.
He can. Did he want to? Not really. And so what I ended up doing was I found a series that he loved.
Okay.
That's the Percy Jackson series by Realtor. And he's a San Antonio author.
I did not know that. Okay, that's cool.
And what the cool thing was is my older son actually fell in love with him in 4th grade as well. And we were close enough down in Kyle that the author would come up and do readings at their elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And so my older son was able to pass down the series to him. He fell in love with it. Now we're on Rick Riordan's 2nd series. They also are on the Harry Potter series as well.
Right.
And so they're, they're just finished book one. They're going to start book two, and he's loving that. And they have activities throughout the day. Yeah, it is pretty cool. But it's definitely gotten him more into reading.
When there's something that when I was that age, I read Popular Mechanics and Popular Science. I hated reading.
Yeah. No, like my son, he's a hot rod guy. So he's like Hot Rod magazine,
That's I can't blame you. Why I get it. I completely get that.
It's all about sports and cars.
And there is nothing wrong with that. Not at all. So maybe not necessarily as big of a pro as I thought it was.
But I will say we do have additional options. So we do have charter schools.
Okay.
There, that you can, put your kid in or get on the wait list for.
Right.
There are also private schools throughout. They have private schools and everything. There's multiple religious private schools throughout town. I honestly don't know what their rating or ranking is, but I mean, if you didn't want to put your child in public school, you do have the opportunity for private school or charter school as well. Plus, we're not far from Round Rock, and Round Rock has one of the best. Meridian is one of the best charter schools in the state.
Yeah.
So
that's
another option.
That's cool. But so from a pro's perspective, the ones that I did not hit, what are your other pros from Georgetown as a resident? She's got a list. Like she came prepared.
Yeah.
I didn't even really tell her what we were talking about, but she came prepared.
So we did kind of talk about the arts, the community theater, the art center. But any given Friday night, you can find live musicians.
Oh, really?
Like on just about every corner of the square.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have Roots, which is a pizza place that has live music. I want to say 4 out of 7 days of the week.
Oh.
I think one night they do karaoke and another night there's a DJ, but they have live music. A lot of the like Southwestern students come and play.
Again, liberal arts college.
Liberal arts college. But we have Ken's Music Store on the square, which not only sells instruments, but also you can do lessons there.
Okay.
I did touch on the market days. And we just talked about Red Rocket Festival, but we didn't talk about Two Step In.
No, and I don't know about Two Step In.
So Two Step In is a music festival. It's the same people who put on the ACL festival, but it's a smaller scale country music festival.
Okay.
It's coming up in April.
Okay.
And it's a 2-day festival. So it's like Saturday and Sunday. It takes over San Gabriel Park.
Oh, it's down on the park.
Yeah, it's down on the park on the river. And it's last year was the first year. It was wildly successful.
Cool. Okay.
They're doing it again. They're going to make it an annual thing. And so that's going to be our own
South by.
Our own South by.
Does it align with South by? No,
South
by is this weekend. Okay.
Yeah, so this is, I want to say it's like the 20-something of April.
Okay.
It's closer to the Poppy Festival.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
okay. That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've got nephews that live up in Belton and that area, and they're always down like for Poppy Festival just to hang out on the square and stuff. And I'm gonna have to ask them if they went to that or if they're going this year.
Yeah. But also the Parks and Rec department does a fabulous job. We have 4 public pools, 4 outdoor public pools, 4 splash pads, 1 indoor public pool. These are not your neighborhood pools run by your HOA. These are actually like city-run pools. And they also have summer camps and programs. And they are when I say they are reasonably priced, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, I took my kid to YMCA camp every summer for years and years, and then finally one year we got off the wait list and into camp, and it was like a normal YMCA camp is like $220 to $240 a week. I'm talking $150 a week. And it's a full day camp. Because
I've heard of other camps are neighbors. Well, Tara.
Yeah.
And Heather, they've talked about camps and how expensive they are, like $400 or $500 a week. So
Yeah.
150 bucks is cheap.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really reasonable. It's being a member is reasonable. If you are living inside Georgetown city limits, you get discount price. You know,
Very cool.
very cool. They have, if you want to play, they have like soccer and volleyball and basketball, and they're reduced rates.
Wait, this is City Rec League stuff?
City Rec League stuff.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's all done through the Georgetown Rec Center. You can take tennis lessons or pickleball lessons, but it doesn't just cater to kids.
I was about to say, that sounds like it spans ages.
It does.
Okay.
They even have a senior center. So they have a senior center where senior citizens, if you don't live in Sun City, you could come and get your recreational needs taken care of at the rec center as well. They have dances for senior citizens.
Nice.
Yeah. They have team nights, team things. They have movies like at the pool.
Okay, Dripping Springs, Texas, get your crap together. You're getting lapped at this point. City of Dripping Springs, come on. Go ahead, sorry. It's
okay.
like, I'm sitting here listening to this like, wow.
Yeah. So no, it's like I said, they have things for people of all ages. If you like fishing, we also have Blue Hole, which is not far from
Blue
here.
Hole Park is right here.
Yeah. It's right down the hill. They stocked Blue Hole Park a couple weeks ago with rainbow trout.
This is one of their stock. Texas Parks and Wildlife does this program when they stock around the state. Well, I'm assuming it's Texas Parks because it's a river.
Yeah.
A lot of time, like College Station, they would do it in the city would do it in the municipal ponds, but I think in the river it's got to be TKW. But yeah, they do it around the state. There's a reproducing population of rainbow trout now below Canyon Lake. They live there year round. They've actually started reproducing.
Oh,
it's
that's
crazy.
great.
It's so cold, the water coming out of the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can sustain. But I didn't realize this was the spot where they turn them loose. Very cool.
That was, I think it was 1,500 or something like that they stocked a couple weeks ago. Let's see. What else?
You're good. And that's the whole point of this, because again, I don't know all of this stuff. Right. I don't live here.
Right. And then of course, Samsung is coming.
Yep, to Taylor. Yep.
Which Taylor is just literally right down the road.
I was going to say, it's 15 minutes, the plant, maybe?
Yeah.
10 to 15 minutes,
Yeah. But also with the other companies that are produce parts for Samsung are also moving into the area.
Yes.
So we have seen an uptick in commercial building, warehouse building.
Yep. Well, and they're about to start building the third high school.
Yes, and that's out west.
Okay.
Because right now we have Georgetown High School. We also have Eastview High School. And they're going to build something out west towards like Santa Rita Ranch.
Closer to Liberty Hill, yeah.
Closer to Liberty Hill, because that area is just growing so fast.
Yeah.
And right now we don't have a name for it, so we joke it's going to be Westview because we got Eastview.
You got Eastview. You got Georgetown, Eastview, Westview. They're done.
Yeah.
Done.
So, but they are planning on building a third high school, which will be great, I think.
And that sounds, with all the growth, you kind of have to get out ahead of it.
Yeah.
Especially from a school district perspective, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, it's not all roses. So let's talk about cons. You were actually shocked that I was going to talk about cons. And so this should be fun. And obviously at this point, we talked about schools. That one sounds like it could go either way. And I'll have to revise my thoughts on that because, again, and again, this is why I do this. So, we get the real scoop on it. For me, from a real estate perspective, and I'm comparing Georgetown to, let's call it Bastrop, Taylor, Kyle Buda, those types of suburbs, because it's not, Dripping Springs is its own animal, Wimberley is its own animal. Georgetown is kind of like the other ones. And when you compare them to Taylor, Bastrop, Kyle Buda, San Marcos, the cost of living here is higher, especially from a real estate perspective.
Yeah, from a real estate perspective, it is. I absolutely agree. I think a lot of it is supply and demand. Yep.
They're remedying that really quickly up north a little bit. Like there's a lot of new houses going in right now.
Yeah, there are. In fact, my daughter and her husband have been looking in Gerald.
Okay. That's so crazy to me. When I saw the neighborhoods that were opening in Gerald, the new build neighborhoods, I'm like, Gerald's almost Dallas. I mean, it's not, literally, it's not. It's up 35. But that's the feeling of somebody that's been in Austin for a while. It's like, I only go through Gerald when I'm going to Dallas. Nobody
Yeah.
ever goes there.
Yeah.
But now it really is a suburb of Austin.
It really truly is. And I mean, there's kids on my son's baseball team that live in Gerald. There's kids that played on his football team that live in Gerald. So it's Gerald's kind of like a little suburb of Georgetown almost.
Well, that's probably a better way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, because I think their neighborhood that they're looking at is 12 miles from our Costco here in Georgetown. So
it just doesn't feel that close. But again, perspective, right?
right. But with that growth comes some growing pain.
Yep.
Traffic is definitely a growing pain.
On 35 or off, like on
Well,
city streets as well?
35, but also our main thoroughfare city streets here in Georgetown. So like we have 29. Wolf Ranch area, that is a high traffic area because it is shopping. We just opened a beautiful brand new HEB.
Okay.
And then of course we have like the Target, the Kohl's, all the other shopping across the street from it. So it is high traffic.
A lot of people going there.
A lot of people going in there. They're looking at ways to remedy the traffic situation with one of those, I don't even know what to call those strange intersections where you go the wrong way.
It's the I think they call them like California diamonds or something.
Okay,
like where you cross over and then go there.
From California, we don't have things like that.
That's what I think they're called. Like that's what I think they call them in Texas because they want to blame it on somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Like it was probably a TxDOT guy that came up with it. He's like, nobody likes this. Let's call it a California diamond.
It's probably Aggie.
It might have been. It might have been.
Yes.
But yeah, where you cross over and then
they're looking at where you go on the wrong side of the road to get around the other way. They're looking at doing that for that intersection that goes over I-35.
Okay.
You know, it may take you a couple of lights to get through downtown Georgetown because everybody wants to stop and see.
And parking down here is not easy.
Parking down here is not easy. However, they're also looking at building a parking garage downtown.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But I will say, right now, and I hope they keep this, but right now, parking in Georgetown is free,
Yes.
and I would like them to keep it that way. I know we have to pay for a parking garage, but
maybe if you park in the garage, you'll have to pay for it. But the slot parking on streets, maybe will stay free.
I hope.
I don't know.
But yeah, they are looking at adding additional parking.
Okay.
Because right now, any kind of event that they have here on Square, you have to park at like Georgetown ISD headquarters.
Whoa!
And it's only like 3 or 4 blocks, and it's a fun walk.
But that's still.
It's a walk. But also like the utilities.
I was going to say that was the third one on here. There's some uncertainty around that.
There is some uncertainty around that. We're building as fast as we can. Encore is trying to keep up.
Encore's the electric provider?
Encore is the electric provider, and then you do have your, who you want to go with. You have options.
Okay.
I think there's like over 200 options.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, it's a lot of
deregulation. Okay.
Mm-hmm. However, like they're also trying to bury lines. A lot of the farmland that they are turning into neighborhoods, they had above ground lines, and so now they're trying to bury all of them. And I work from home, so that has caused some power outages.
If you're a telecommuter, here you go, major con.
That major con. There has been some times where, luckily, my company has a branch close enough to where I can pack up my laptop and go in if I needed to. But there have been times where I've showed up there that they didn't
power either.
So then, I mean, I'm only good as long as my battery on my laptop is running,
right.
And then I can use my phone as a hotspot. But there have been times where and it's 3:30, I'm done for the day.
Could be a pro.
I guess you could turn that into a
but you also mentioned something about the internet providers out here a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so the big snafu with Georgetown internet provider is Suddenlink was our primary and only provider for years because of a bad contract that was signed
from the mayor that's no longer the mayor.
No.
I'll go ahead.
Our current mayor is great, by the way. But we're going back and adding infrastructure. So like last year, in order to add fiber lines, they had to redig my neighborhood and dig lines across everybody's yard to add fiber lines. Because Suddenlink was the only provider in Georgetown, and in some cases, it's until they get everything buried again, it is still the only provider in some areas. But I do currently have fiber.
Okay. AT&T or Google?
It is fiber first.
Oh, fiber for a completely different one. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that was a thing yet, but okay.
Yeah. But my internet, if I have electricity, works great.
That's usually a key component of internet.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. And then of course, I do still have PTSD from the snowpocalypse in 2021. Because I am not on city water, I'm currently in a mud district.
Yep.
I have Jonah water, and our pump had froze, so we were without water.
Not yours at the house.
Not mine at the house. The
entire
pump to the neighborhood water tower froze, so I was without water for 5 days. So that was hard.
So I guess now when you lose electricity or anything else, you kind of start looking for containers.
I keep containers on my kitchen counter.
You said that like you were embarrassed, putting your head down.
Yeah. I have glass jars and containers, and I had to make one of those. I guess you would make lemonade or tea for a party in, one of those with the spigot. I have one of those on top of my fridge that if I ever needed to fill that up to wash dishes, it's ready to go. That's my thing. It's a camping turned into a camping situation. But I will say, like, most of the time we do not have, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. We don't necessarily have lack of water or electricity for days or anything. It's just have been intermittent outages. Of course, when we have severe weather, it's typically when we have those issues.
Gotcha. Okay. Moving on to the next con, we've talked about the growth and some of the issues, the infrastructure issues.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I feel like even though they're fighting it, it feels like maybe some of that small town feel is getting lost. Is that a fair assessment? Am I wrong on that?
We're holding on for dear life.
Gripping on, yeah. Okay.
But I will say that this year the Christmas stroll, the Christmas parade, it was like my son walked in the parade with his football team, and it was crazy crowded afterwards, and we did not stay long. It was like it was too many people. It was like, let's hurry up, walk through, get our snack, and get to the car.
As we're doing a video letting people know what it's like living here, it's getting crowded.
It is. I mean, I don't. But that's everywhere. It's getting crowded.
Anywhere around Austin. I mean, It really is. All these suburbs have doubled and tripled in size in the last 5 years. It's a thing. Austin's gone from 1.2 million in the MSA to over 3 million, or right at 3 million people in the last, I think, 6 or 7 years. So almost tripled in size.
Yeah. Tuesday I drove down to South Austin, and I didn't even recognize the skyline.
Yeah.
They're taking down the the drum. They're taking that down, which is like just heart-wrenching. I graduated there. My daughter graduated there. It's like but I passed by Bowie and I didn't even recognize it.
Yeah, it's clear the school doesn't look the same. And that's all. All the Austin ISD schools that I know all look different.
Yeah.
Than when I taught there.
Yeah. My son was like, "Is that a college?" And I said, "No, that's my high school."
It's about as big as a college. Yeah. Some colleges, anyway.
Well, so we have here in Georgetown, we have Southwestern. I don't know if you know this. It's the oldest college in the state of Texas.
Yep.
And it's
really beautiful campus.
Gorgeous campus. If you like the feel of like a school on the East Coast, that's the kind of feel that you get. They are adding new buildings. They're renovating buildings. But it has a great feel to it. It's very walkable. Walk to downtown from there.
Yep.
Walk to the dog park. It has, dorms on campus, so it's a great little aspect. And then, of course, if you wanted to hire some summertime help,
You got a university
you've got
here.
a university, so you got university kids that you could
Nice.
hire as well.
It was, let's say, slave labor, basically. They have to eat ramen. They have to be able to afford ramen. I don't think kids live like that anymore. Not like I did when I was in
I was
college.
going to say, I still have a case of ramen in the pantry.
Erica does too.
I mean, you could jazz it up.
That's right. You can put hot dogs in it.
Or eggs.
Or eggs.
Like crack an egg.
That's right. Yeah, you got egg drop soup.
Yeah.
All right, and I just thought about this. I actually didn't have this written down, but it is one of the cons that I think about when I think about this area, North Austin, Williamson County, kind of getting up, north, is you guys have some nasty storms up here.
There have been.
I mean, when I looked at like the severe thunderstorm watches, it feels like this area gets a lot more of that and a lot more hail and stuff than other parts of Austin.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always grew up thinking, oh, all the big storms happen on the east side of 35
Right.
for whatever reason. But, the west side has been good. Bertram,
Yep.
Liberty Hill, they have gotten some bad storms and some, small
Little tornadoes and
as
stuff, yep.
well. And I will say, anytime there's bad weather, I call my parents on the other side of town. I'm like, hey, are you okay? Do you have everything you need?
Right.
Do you need anything? And they're like, oh, it's raining? We didn't even know. I'm like, yes. Mom.
You said let's switch places. You go see her shows now. Now you're worrying about them.
Yeah. I will say we've had windstorms.
Yep.
We've had heavy rainstorms. In my area, we haven't had any tornadoes yet. Knock
on wood.
But I will say, like, the windstorms have been able to down branches in my backyard.
Right.
But I mean, I just think anywhere in Texas.
I was about to say, it's not localized.
I think anywhere in Texas you have a chance for severe weather. I mean, we live in Central.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, that's guys. If you're still with us at this point in the video, you just need to subscribe to the channel because this is the kind of content that you're looking for. You're interested in it, and I'm going to keep doing these videos. I was talking to Erin. I think we're going to try to set one up a little while down the road, talking maybe to her mom as well.
Yeah.
And so this is the kind of content that I want to bring you. I want you to know what it's like to live in an area if you're thinking about moving to an area. And it's hard to get a feel for an area if you visit on a weekend.
It is, especially a weekend when events are happening in town. But I welcome anyone to come up. Check out Georgetown. You're going to fall in love.
And she doesn't work with the city.
I don't work with
You're
the
not
city.
on the Visitors Bureau or anything like that. No, just a citizen.
I'm just a citizen.
Have I mentioned that people in Texas in general are just very welcoming and nice? At least native Texans are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next video.